Hello everyone, welcome back to another video by eClip on my YouTube channel. Alright, last week I made a video trying to explain how hard it is to get a really good sound design and good mixes and so on, and I did that video because a lot of people were asking me about good mixing tips and so on. So the idea of the previous video, I just want to say that previous video I did in a freestyle, something similar as this one, but now I just wrote a few things that I don't forget, because in the last video I forgot to say a few things that will make it a little bit more clear. And also thank you a lot for really nice comments, and I'm really happy that you found that video honest as it was. So why did I want to make the previous video? Because now with this video and the video before, I'm touching the field that is really complicated, and it is including a lot of things. So when you are starting your career, or when you start making music with some ambitions of being a DJ, I just want to pass some of the things that you need to count on in order that you can organize your time a bit better. Because as I already said in the previous video, to develop a skill to have a really good mixes are extremely long, and you will need a lot of time. I don't say that you should not go on this path, but I just wanted to explain with the previous video how much time it will require. So if you accept my thoughts about that you can maybe calculate, will you go that way, or you can go with another way by paying some professionals to do that job for you. So with this video I want to expand the whole thing about making the DJ producer career, and that way I just want you to get the informations and then organize yourself in a way that suits you and the way you would like to do it. When it comes to developing your career, it is really good to analyze and maybe to make some kind of plan, because all of us, we know that being a DJ producer or artist or whatever you call it, it became a business, and some of the people are making pretty good amount of money. And where the money is, there are also some other ambitious people around that. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, as there are no good and bad things. They are the things just as they are. And the more realistic we are, it is better for us, for me and you, to accept it. And when you accept it, you make a first step toward in a good direction. So today, being a DJ or a artist is becoming a business, which I already said. So if you think that you will do everything by your own, you will need to give your 100% of your time on this. And why is that? Because being a DJ today, it includes that you need to have a good music, and I will come back later on this topic. After you have a good music, you will need to be able to sell it, which means you will need to sign it for a label. And now when it comes to releasing this track for a label, labels, they also do the similar thing as artists, and they have some amount of people that are their listeners or the fans, and they have their own promotion list and so on. So the bigger the label is, more people will hear your music. That is the first thing. So you will need also to have some kind of really good management skills in order to contact the label, to find it and try to release it. And also you will need to have a graphic design, which label can do for you, of course. You will need to spend some money on the promotion, as the more people hear your music, the better it will be for your career. and that's the fact. So when I was doing, I didn't have money to invest in the promotion and so on. So I realized that I will need to make more music as possible. So I was going by releasing as much music as possible on several different labels. Actually, from 2010, I tried to release on every label that is possible. But that path is not so good because you will spend a lot of your music. You will need to work really fast, and you will come to the burnout in some moment as you will spend your creativity in some way. So this is where comes the good management skills. So the less material you do and you place it on the best possible spots or the markets, or you will sign it to the best possible label, or you will start doing your own promotion. Well, also you will need to have some marketing skills as well. So you will need to have photos, you will need to run social networks as Instagram, Facebook. And if you are working on your music, creative part, and if you are also struggling to finish your mixes, that means the less time you will have to do the promotion. So when you calculate all of these things together, you will need to understand that there are some parts of this job that you will need to hire somebody else. I'm telling you because maybe the 50% of my covers for EPs I did by my own, as I wanted to do the graphic design as well. And this is something I was doing parallelly with my music. I was making my videos as well. So I know editing, I know After Effects, I know Illustrator, I know Photoshop. I made my own website and so on and so on. So I'm telling you this from personal experience, and it will require a lot of time and a lot of different skills in order if you want to make a career right. But also there are some other ways. So now I'm going back to the question of the good music. So the first thing when you are starting and developing your career will be that you have a good track. Let's start with one track. So to make a good track and good sounding track, there are two paths. The first one is that you sit and you make your track, and then you try to mix it, and then you try to do the mastering and so on. For that, you will need a lot of time, and that's for sure. And there's nothing bad if you are, probably the most of you are already on that path, and this is not to discourage you, it's just to open the whole spectrum of the things that you will need to do in order if you want to release the music. Because I was spending a lot of time in doing my mixes, my music and so on, and after I finished the track, I had this feeling that I finished the job and the job is done. But basically, this is just the first step. When you have a good track, and now I want to come back on this good track. So you can sit and make your track, you can mix it and spend the time. You need to understand that being a DJ, it became a business. So there are a lot of ambitious people who won't choose the tools to succeed. So you will compete with the people who will probably find somebody who knows how to make music, and they will pay him off. Then they will pay some sound engineer who will make it to sounds really good. Mastering engineer, they will pay somebody to do the cover. They will pay some really good graphic designer for the cover, some video guy to make some really interesting video. They will put the money in promotion. So you will be competing with the people who will invest the money. And I know that most of you will not like this, but there are no good or bad things. They are just the things as they are. And the more realistic you became, you will have much bigger chances to succeed, because you will be able to analyze what are the things that you are doing good and the things that you are not doing good. And for the things that you believe you are not doing good, maybe for those things you can hire somebody else to do the job for you. And there's nothing bad about this, because as I already mentioned, there is huge amount of things that you will need to do, and all of these things, the better they are, the better results you will get. So paying the graphic designer, if you go in a to learn graphic design, you will also need 2 to 5 years to be really good in that. Also for mixing, also for mastering, also for promotion for videos and so on. And when you have a good track and then you have a good cover for it and then you have a good video for it and then you put some money on a promotion on the SoundCloud, on YouTube and so on, the better are chances that you will use that material that you already made that is good, and you will try to use the biggest potential of it in a way of, if I was sitting in a studio, if I spend that much time and energy in creating some of the music, it is maybe better thing that I hire some people more to help me to sell this, to put this on market, and to push this track to the more listeners as possible. As otherwise you will be just throwing out a lot of music and it will be kind of a waste. And I believe this is the main reason why the music quality is reduced in the last years, because we came into the hyper production where every day a lot of tracks are coming, and then other artists have these stresses. They are looking how much of their the other artists are releasing, and they're trying to compete with this, and all of this is bringing the stress inside. So as I see it, it's much better that you sit a little bit more, that you produce less better material, but in that case you will need to spend a bit more, because as I mentioned previously, I had a feeling that after I finished the track, like, whoa, that's it, I'm done. I put a lot of energy inside that. But this is just the first step, as after that, the other part of the job, the promotion, the marketing and so on, it's even more important than the just making the music. So developing a career and to be able to play and go around, you will need to do a lot of different things, and you won't like all of those things. Also, I just want to give you insight about how it is to be a DJ. And again, don't get me wrong, this is not the thing that I want to complain and to tell you that this is a bad job or something like this. I just want to give you an insight, as I also got a lot of surprises on that way. I was dreaming to go to play, to travel, to do all of these things, and only 2014 I didn't have even one weekend off. And I was playing 6 tours in Brazil with DM7. Marco, if you are watching this, hello, and Diogo as well. So I had a lot of fun. But in October, I felt this huge feeling of being tired. And all the travels I had, when my friends started asking me how was there, I couldn't remember even the places or something. I just remember the airports and hotels. So this job is, if you want to develop a career, you need to be ready for some really challenging moments as well, as traveling is super nice and going to different places is amazing. But after some time you might come to this point where you won't enjoy it that much, as after some travels, we all know the feeling when you come back home. This is also an amazing thing. And imagine in that moment that you need to go to another place. And I'm not talking about taking a 2 or 3 hours flight. I'm talking about 13 hours flight and then choosing other connections and so on. So my experience from 2014, when I played every weekend the whole year, I didn't even one weekend I didn't have off. In October, I remember I came back from a 6th Brazil tour, and I stayed in Belgrade only one day. I went to Israel, I came back, I went to Mexico, I came back, and I needed to go to Costa Rica. And that flight for Costa Rica was cancelled, and I must say that I felt so relieved, and I gave a promise to myself that I will never accept this in my life again. because it is really, really challenging to be on the road, spending that much time on the flights. And also you wouldn't have that much time for being in a studio and doing all of those things. Yes, the financially it was pretty good, and that was the moment when I invested in my studio and I made a step forward. But there is some line where you will need to choose as well. And also I have a lot of friends that are insanely good producers, and they mostly do the ghost producing today. And I don't want to mention the names, as you probably notice in all of my videos, because I'm trying to avoid any problem, as some of the people might not like or misunderstood what I say, and then I would need to trying to explain what did I say. So this is the reason why I'm not mentioning only, but I'm not mentioning artist names. But this friend of mine, he's making tech house music, but he's making for, if you go in Beatport top 10, trust me, 3 of those tracks are always his. And I asked him, like, why you don't release this for yourself? And he was like, man, I don't want to travel. I can't do this anymore, you know, like I'm off of this. I'm the guy for the studio, and this is where I found my spot and where I'm happy. So when you say somebody hired a ghost producer, and then you think this is a bad thing, if you think about that artist who bought the track from some ghost producer, then I do understand. But you need to understand that there are people who just love the studio work and they want to live from that as well. So if you have somebody who likes to travel and enjoy this crazy lifestyle of a DJ, but he doesn't have a time to make the music, and then there is another guy who doesn't want to travel and likes to make music, and they just connect and they work together and both sides are getting what they want. There's nothing bad about that. And we need to accept this. So my point was that when you are trying to develop your career, you can choose also different paths. So as I said, somebody will come with the money from something else, and he will invest, he will buy a track, he will sign it as his name, he will hire the mixing engineer to make it to sounds amazing. Then he will pay for a graphic designer to do an amazing cover. Then he will pay somebody else to make a good animation video for that track. And then he will pay a lot of sponsored posts on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. And he will probably dress really well and trying to make something interesting on his Instagram. And this is the guy that promoters will book before you for sure. Not all of them, but as I said, we are living in the time where money is around everything, and it is around art as well. If you choose to be an artist and to do your own music with not that good mixes, that you do everything by your own, you will be able to have a nice career. And I see myself as that guy. As last 2-3, what is happening when you go inside this circle and you start living from music, you are getting inside this industry machinery. And even if you don't want, it's really hard to avoid all of these effects. As you spend the time with other artists and we are talking about this, how you can do the better promotion, how you can make. And on the end, you're getting inside this circle, into this machinery, and you start doing things that on the beginning you didn't want to do. So I also ended up trying to make music that I don't like and trying to fight something because I was living with that. And when you're living with that, it's becoming a little bit of stressful as well. And where is the stress, there is another things, and so on, so on. So far in my not that long career, but it is already more than 10 years. The first track I released 2006, so let's say 14 years, but from 2010 I started with Eclipse and everything was happening on a much faster. So I can say that professionally I'm doing this from 2010. So for these 11 years, it's been already 3 times at least that I went to the path where I was trying to make music that I don't like. And then something happened and I reset myself. I come back to my original feeling from the inside. And this is why I like to say about myself that I'm an artist, because I cannot make something for the market. I tried. I really gave my best to do it, to try to make more money and to enjoy some nice life, but it is not who I am, and it just doesn't work. As also, you need to understand that people are also trying to book more performers than just the DJs. So this is another thing, like another weapon. Like first is the music, another is your management skills and marketing skills. The third one is how you interact with those people, how you are making your brand of, and so on. And then how you perform, how do you look, how do you interact with the people. I'm really sad I don't want to mention any names in this video, but I'm sure you already have a few guys that when somebody is a good entertainer, it is already good, and this is what is selling the tickets and what is going in those markets. And also there's a lot of friendships around that. You will also need to have these management skills, so you will need to convince some of the booking agency to sign you in, and then you will need to give some percentage to them. So it is the same thing as if you are running a company, because I was trying to develop all these skills by my own, as I am the guy like that. I want to go inside everything, and everything is interesting for me, and everything I want to touch and go inside that field. But I don't think this is a good thing. I actually think this is a bad thing about me, and I don't want this video to become about myself, as I just want to pass my experience to you so you can understand what is happening, and then you can make your time in a way that you like. And then if you see that some of those things you wouldn't like to do, it's much better if you pay somebody else, somebody who is good in that and somebody who loves to do it, to hire him to do this kind of job for you. So I believe I said more than enough in this video, and now I'm gonna go to edit it, and I hope it's not gonna be that confusing. So this was all for this week, and I will also analyze this video a few times, and then if I didn't do anything, or if I said something wrong, or if I said something that you can misunderstand, I will make another video on this point as well. As you can already notice, this is a really wide range of many different things. So being a DJ and running, it is the same thing as running the business. So you can also think about, when you're hiring somebody, as a people who are your co-workers on your path. As the best advice I can give you is, first thing is to ask yourself what is exactly that you want. When you make something as a goal, you make circle inside of that and you write it down. And then you can write down what are the steps you need to finish and what are the steps you need to do to make your goal to be successful. And this video is about that. What it will need for you to develop the career. As I said, music is the first thing, and there are several ways how you can do it. You can write your track, and then you can maybe hire somebody else, or you can sit with your friends, you can ask for them for a help, trying to bring in some other ideas, and so on. So the first thing is that you have a good music. The second thing is that you want to have your visual identity, which are your photos, which is the logo. So for logo and photos, you will probably need to hire a photographer and a graphic designer. So this is another thing. The third thing is that you start to collect emails, or you will find some promotion agency that will do this job for you. And then you will sending the emails with the promos and trying to sign it to the best label. When you sign it to the best label and when you get the date, you want to make a video for that, for Instagram, for Facebook, and then you will start making your promotion. And all the things together is something that will bring your career that will bring yourself to the point and your main goal. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you are all safe, and see you next week. Bye.